What's up? It's Juice Beats, back again with another race video. We've already gotten started. I kind of messed up on the recording here and didn't get started until about a minute 50 into the race. But here I am, sitting in the middle of the pack, and yeah, moving quite well so far in this race. Obviously, it's early, but this is the Zwift Racing League Island Hopper, and it's about 36 kilometers in this race, so decently long for this one. So the race, I think, is about an hour long or so, and we are moving along nice and smooth. It's fairly flat to begin with. It doesn't seem like there's too many meters of elevation in this race, but you know, I'm out here just trying to stick into the middle of the pack. There are, obviously, right now I'm getting ready to go through this sprint section. So there are sprint points and different places on the map where you can get sprint points. And so that's what we're doing right here. I'm trying to conserve as much energy as possible already early in this race and just kind of stick in with the group. It's pretty tough to go completely crazy on these sprints early on in the race and still stick in there. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm just trying to make sure that I can stick in with the group for as long as possible. So yeah, that was the first sprint of the race. Comes about 2 kilometers into the race, and there are, I believe, each lap there's 3 or so. We might see different here in just a minute, but I believe there's 3 each time we do a lap. So there is a little bit of a lead in, so you can kind of see that up there on the map where it says lap /1 or 1/2. So we are on the first lap, and then there's like another little line that has like a little lead in there. So that's what that is. And for some reason, I pop up to the front here. Not really sure why, because I wasn't pushing out a ton of watts. I think I was just really trying to catch up to the group here the best I could. And yeah, I guess, you know, after that sprint, a lot of people kind of die down on the attacks, and they kind of settle back in with their pushes here. So I think that's what happened, and I was pushing pretty hard to get back onto it, but you know, once they settle and I'm still kind of going, I kind of cruise into the front there. So not too bad. I like that. I remember doing a much better job sticking in with the group here early on in this race. And then, you know, that's my main focus. Like I'm riding up, so I'm riding with the B group. I'm a borderline CB, so it's tougher for me to ride with the B group, especially when there are climbs and things like that. So I get to a point where watts per kilogram come into play, and usually on the climbs. So I believe in this one, there's not like a sustained climb or anything like that, but there is like a short climb that comes up. So you'll see that in just a few minutes, and you'll see, you know, kind of what I do here in just a little bit here. So I didn't go too much further into the race, maybe just a little bit here, but you can see we're very strung out. Up there on the map on the right-hand corner, you can see how strung out everybody is. I'm kind of sitting towards the back of the pack here in 54th place. So I'm dangling on the back, hanging on for dear life. I got to make up some time here and try to get back up to that front group. You can see that big split there in the middle. I don't want them to get away this early in the race. So you know, this second group right here, we've got to push it a little bit harder to get back on the back of that group here. You can see there's a guy kind of bridging towards it right now. So that's where I need to be, or I need to just kind of follow these guys right here if they're going to push it and make it back onto that group. There really wasn't a climb or anything in between there. it just seemed like, I guess, the front group, there might have been an attack or something like that, and everybody kind of pushed on, and maybe the back of the pack didn't quite catch on to that attack in time, and that's where that split came from. But it looks like right here, it looks like we're kind of coming back onto the back here. So we pushed it pretty good, and now we're making it to the back. But now here we go, we got another sprint. So I believe this is the second sprint. So you can see I'm not putting out a terrible amount of watts on this one. You know, I kind of pushed it a little bit, but I'm trying to still conserve my energy the best as possible. Yeah, it's tough to go over 1,000 watts right here and then try to keep up with everybody afterwards when you're trying to catch your breath. So I don't know. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have tried to push it a little bit more and kept it close to the front of the pack here, and maybe that would have helped me a little bit more at this point in the race. But I'm breathing pretty hard. It's already taken a toll in this race. You know, those sprint points and those sprints throughout the race are pretty tough, and they're pretty much equalizers. You can see people are already falling backward after doing that. So it's great. You can get points, but you know, at what cost at this point in the race, especially this early. All right, so not too much further. This is the point where we've got a little bit of a climb right here, and it's not a long climb or anything like that, but it is a little bit of a climb. So I hit my drafting boost here. I'm hoping that it kind of helps me draft a little bit on the back of these guys. Like we're still moving pretty well, and I think there's a little bit of a draft that I can get at this point, but I just don't want to fall off the back this early in the race. I mean, I'm you know, already kind of getting gapped a little bit, and obviously watts per kilogram are playing a part in this part of the race. So we're at, you know, 5%, slowly going down at this point. But yeah, that little rise or that little climb there is what's up. You can see like the group is pretty strung out. There's a few people that have been gapped, or there's a little bit of a split there, so you can see how much of an equalizer this hill is right here for a lot of the guys. But I'm still pushing down the watts. I'm still trying to keep in there. But yeah, at this point, I don't think I'm gonna make it back to the front of the race. There's a few splits there, and yeah, the front of the race is just going to keep going. They're pushing hard up there. So best bet is to there's a couple groups up there in the front that were split off. The best bet is to try to meet up with those groups and do the best I can trying to ride with them. All right, so here we go. We're coming into almost to the end of the first lap here, and now I've got a little group going. If we can get this group to kind of work together, we can meet up with a few more guys and possibly move pretty well together right here. Looks like we've got a group of 2 just in front. We're getting ready to catch up right here. Trying to see how many guys we've got. So it looks like we're kind of a group of 8 at this point, or maybe 6. I'm not sure if those guys hang on or not. But, we've got another guy out front of us who's kind of dangling. Okay, and we're going into another sprint area. So this always kind of breaks up a lot of the people around here. But I've worked hard to get to this point in the race, even after the split and everything. Just trying to stay with a group. It helps a lot more than riding by yourself at some points in the race. So I don't want these front couple guys to get away from us. So, they took off, did their sprint and everything. I put a little bit of a sprint in, and it kind of helped me stay up towards the front here. So now we've got a much bigger group. I guess we're going to come together here in just a minute, and that way we can kind of ride it out into this next lap here. Speeding forward just a little bit more. We're catching up to another guy that had kind of fallen off from another group here. And you can see over there on the right, you've got a 3 second, which is right there in front of us. We can see him. And then we've got an 8 second person out front. So looks like if we keep moving the way we're moving, we're going to catch up to those guys there that are just out front of us, and kind of make a little bit of a bigger group here. We've already gapped a few guys that were grouped together with us before. So, even smaller group, but you can see still kind of sitting where I was earlier on in the race, in that 48 to 40 position, somewhere in there. Here we go, coming together. So this works out much better than me riding solo into the end of the race, and it definitely helps out more. I can conserve my energy a little bit in a bigger group like this, and hopefully maybe sprint it out towards the end when we get there with the smaller field sprint. All right, going into another little climb here. Getting close. We're about halfway through the second lap here. 9 kilometers left to go in the race, and I just gotta make sure that I'm staying out front and holding on for dear life on this hill right here. Make sure that I'm putting out enough watts. I still got the energy. I'm still doing okay. Heart rate's in check. RPM's good. And I just don't want these guys to gap me on the hill. I want to make sure that I'm sticking with them the best I can here, and staying with all these guys, because that's one thing. Obviously falling off the front of the race at the beginning or towards the beginning kind of sucks. But then when you get into another group and then you've got a hill, you definitely don't want them to get away as well. And then obviously riding solo to the end, which I've done a few times in these Zwift Racing League races. So don't want to do that anymore. Definitely want to ride in with some energy and everything, and be able to kind of conserve in a bigger group like this. That's fun. So we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus me, 8. And then looks like one behind me. So nine guys with us right here, maybe 10. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, I think we've got about 10 guys here in this little group here. So pretty good sized group. Good to go in here. Less than halfway on this second lap to go, looks like. And I think we're coming up to another little climb in just a second here. So definitely gotta put down the watts going up here to make sure I stay with everybody again. Can I do it here? Okay, sitting up, out the saddle. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm holding my own here. Keeping it close. That's the best thing, if I can keep it close. And I can see over there on the right, obviously you've got up to about 6% or there, but then you can see just below it kind of smooths out, and it looks like it's gonna be more flat. So as long as I can hang with these guys through that little rise and then get to the flat part, I should be okay. So they're starting to pull away a little bit. I need to put a little bit of a dig just to get back on into the draft here. Yep, they're pulling away. Don't let them go, Jay. So we're going into another sprint at this point. So, obviously dangerous. It didn't look like, it doesn't look like they're really sprinting. They really could have got away here if they were all sprinting really well, but they weren't. It didn't look like. So, good thing, because now I think I can catch up to them, because they'll have a little bit of a slowdown. They weren't sprinting too hard, but I think maybe a couple of them at the front were sprinting, so they're gonna have to catch their breath a little bit here in just a second. And so that should give me enough time to catch up here. I definitely don't want to fall off the back at this point, because I don't think there's any more climbs at the end of this race. I think it's mostly smooth downhills and flats. We got to pick up some speed going down this hill. I should get a lot more speed going down this hill than some of these guys, since I'm much heavier in this race. So I should be able to gather enough speed to get down there. I got to get rid of this featherweight as well. I don't need it at this point, because I don't think there's any more climbs left. So it would have been good to go up the climb with the featherweight like that, but doesn't really help me much on the downhills or the flats. Probably should have waited to use it when I got to the flat or something like that, though, because the featherweight doesn't really help me going downhill. It might actually hurt more than it helps. You gotta look too. I'm not sure which kilometer per hour it is where you hit the super tuck. I need to look at that. But here I go, yeah, so pushed it down the hill pretty well, and now I'm connecting on the back of this group. So that was good for me. I didn't want them to get away, and so that definitely helped to make sure when I pushed it down that hill to get back on here. So that's perfect. Back in the group, now I can kind of relax a little bit. So I know that we're going to be going downhill some, and there's going to be some flats towards the end. There's no more like climbs or anything like that left. So now I'm thinking about, okay, with this group, I can reach, I think, into the 30th, 39th, 38th place, something like that with this group. So I got to think about going into the sprint at this point. We're at 5.1 kilometers, so not too much left here. All right, speeding up. Still with the same group here. We got 2 kilometers left in the race. Coming down to the wire and sitting good, sitting in the middle of this pack. Conserving energy, feeling good, not having to put out too many watts or anything like that. Kind of sitting in that zone 2 range for me, and I've got an aero boost, so that's also really good for this sprint. So just got to make sure I time it correctly here. All right. Jump forward just a little bit more. I didn't want to bore you too much on that last little bit, but here we go. About a kilometer left, a little less than a kilometer. And we've got a little bit of an attack here at the front. This is usually when people kind of try to separate if they've got a real strong push towards the end. This is where they want to separate, about a kilometer out. So I know that I gotta dig deep and put the watts down to make sure I stick with these guys. Can't let them get away at this point in the race. So close that gap. There we go. Stay on that in the draft here. Make sure that I'm sticking with these guys the best I can. It's coming down to it. 0.5 kilometers. I'm not in a great position. I need to get back into the middle of this little group here. But it looks like I'm coming back into it, so that's good. And then what happened? guess what happened? So we get down to the end of it right here, and I went to hit my aero boost, and apparently I hit another button or something like that, and my recording stopped. And I could not see where I was going. I could not see what happened, and I completely lost where I was going with my sprint there. So instead of being able to time my sprint the way I want to and kind of catch up to the guys that were up front, I ended up stopping just a little bit short of the finish line and cruising in, and then I ended up getting 43rd in that little group. Best I could have done, I think, was 38 or 39th. So not too bad. I was sitting, I think, about 48th at that last little bit before the sprint. So there was a possibility I could have hit that, but I just, hitting the wrong button and then not being able to see where the actual finish line was kind of sucked. But anyway, so a little bit better race for me, I think. I hung in there pretty well, was able to kind of keep up with at least that second, third group or whatever it was. And I was able to go up the hills with those guys. So I feel a little bit better about this race than I do some of the others, but definitely still need to work on those watts per kilogram for myself. But anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you know when I post videos. And I got another one coming up soon, so be on the lookout for that. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.